Vista city officials plan to perform an appraisal on a plot of land the city hopes to transform into a community park. Here to tell us more about what played into all of this is Mayor of Vista, John Franklin. Good morning, Mayor. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So there's a lot to unpack here.
There is.
We're going to try and condense this because the UT recently ran an article about a piece of land that Vista was in the process of purchasing.
That's right.
But there wasn't an appraisal done on the land. Explain where you've now kind of pumped the brakes on this and said, okay, let's get an appraisal to make, I think, the people of Vista feel that the city is doing its due diligence and getting a good deal for taxpayers.
That's the key right there, is we want to put accountability and transparency up front and make that the most important part of this process.
But answer the question,
Absolutely.
Do you feel that it was only because of the UT's article that led you guys to where you are now?
I have to give credit where credit is due.
Okay.
The UT pointed out that we hadn't included an appraisal, though we had gone through a process with real estate professionals on both sides that determined that it was a very thoughtful process that looked at comparable land sales and comparable valuations. And we do think it was a more than a fair price. We actually really believe that the city is getting a deal here. But the fact that we didn't include an appraisal, honestly, it was a boneheaded oversight. And that's why I reached out to the UT and I said, you know what? We deserve to take our lump for not putting oversight and accountability and transparency first and including an appraisal. So I went into the city manager's office and I said, we have to have an appraisal before we finish this sale. And if the appraisal is different or lower than the amount that we've agreed to go into escrow for, then I'm going to reconvene the council and we're going to discuss whether we want to proceed.
Okay, so let's talk numbers here because the council had agreed to a $2.1 million purchase price for a 2.27 acre plot of land. Right. This is at Madigal Drive?
That's right.
And so we're talking about having it being previously assessed at $301,000 from the county. So I think people see those numbers on paper.
Absolutely.
Maybe they're not taking into account dates. So I guess reconcile for people's minds a $300,000 assessment from the county and you guys looking to purchase this plot of land for 2.1.
Absolutely. So the property sold at the very bottom of the real estate crash. 2011 values were at an absolute low. The current owner bought it at that time. Prop 13 limits the assessed valuation increase to 2% per year. So, but the real change in the value of the land is the fact that the city of Vista, our staff and previous councils actually pursued this land for redevelopment. We told previous owners and the current owner that we wanted to build a hotel on this land. The city signaled that we wanted to develop this land. There were proposals to build high-density condominiums on this land. The neighbors were not happy about those proposals. The council listened to the neighbors who did not want high-density development in their single-family neighborhood, and the council decided to build a park there instead, which we really felt was a great win-win. The real estate broker that was representing the owner listed the property for $3.56 million, which is a very similar valuation to the property that is immediately across the street. When the commercial use is considered, the land value goes up significantly. This piece of land is highway adjacent, so it's very visible and it does have commercial appeal. And this council has made clear that we want to develop it in one way or another, make it a useful asset to the people of Vista. But the park is a much better outcome for the citizens. And we think that the price that we negotiated will be supported by the appraisal. If it's not, we're going to have a further discussion. Frankly, the public's review of this, we wanted a win for the public. We wanted something that the community would celebrate. And that's the outcome that we're going to work to achieve. We want something that everybody believes is transparent, accountable, and a long-term win at a great value for the taxpayers. And that's what I'm fighting for.
Well, I think the people of Vista are probably pretty happy that there at least is going to be that due diligence aspect. And when do you expect the appraisal value to come in?
We hope to have the appraisal as soon as our next meeting on the 22nd. We don't close escrow on the property until the 30th. We think we'll definitely have the appraisal back before then, but if by chance we don't, we're going to extend the escrow. We're not going to close the transaction until we've gone through the process the right way. And just briefly, I went into the city manager's office and I said, we need an appraisal and we need a policy that mandates appraisals for all public land acquisitions, because this was an oversight that we don't want to make again. The city manager got back to me a few days later and he said, we've been researching the policy you asked us to create, and we already have one. So we find out we actually already have a policy that requires an appraisal. So I reached out to Jeff McDonald at the UT and I said, you know, if not for you, we might have violated our own policy. So thank you for your good reporting, and we want to uphold our policy. It's a good policy for a great reason, one that I strongly support.
Credit where credit is due.
That's right.
Mayor Franklin, thank you so much for the time this morning. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.